Welcome back to another Linux GameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, it's going to be a fun one because Hollow Knight has dropped another DLC bomb for the low price of free. Looking forward to that. And NVIDIA has released a driver that actually works with 415, and it will not kill your children.
Valve turns to AI to curtail cheating. The bomb has been planted, and Crotein has set themselves up a little incubator. Let's see what kind of horrible chickens have hatched.
Valve opens some sauce. I'm a big fan of garlic sauce myself, and there's another humble indie bundle that's full of meh.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm Vin Stone here at LGC Actual, switching the bits, broadcasting live from Athens, joined every week by our Toronto correspondent, the man up north, where it's probably getting almost a degree this time of year. It's super.
Oh, it was 7 whole degrees out. I stepped outside and melted.
You probably wore shorts today.
I wish.
You wish. All right. Space Britannia chiming in. It is late, but he is up. It is terrifying, horrifying as it is. Kind of glorious. That is One Pager Mateus, together with Shatrealm Dynamic, joining us live in Discord and IRC, helping us form the last most special bit, known as Cocaine Voltron. Before we get started, we do like to see what's going on in each other's live organs. I was talking in the pre-super shows, and go check that out if you're a patron. It's like almost 60 episodes of that. 2 liters, gentlemen. 2 liters. We're familiar with 2 liters. And
Dr. Thunder.
We do a show on Fridays, a live stream, the Friday Food Bar All-Star. And like 30 minutes before that, I was cleaning diet soda from a 2 liter off of my kitchen floor, my kitchen cabinets, my kitchen ceiling, the kitchen island thing in the middle. Because I don't say this with any ego whatsoever. I hate this about myself. When you take a swig of that and you put the top back on, and maybe you get a little dent in it, something like that, and it goes pop like that. Maybe 5 minutes later, it did that, and I karate chopped that fucking, not this particular bottle, but a bottle, and it looked like I gibbed it because it exploded, and it pressurized, and it shot around, and I'm not saying that it's like, oh, ninja skill. I didn't even know what the hell I hit, man. I mean, if it was a snake or something, I'd be dead because it would just attack, bury the body if there's a problem later. So, yeah, that was the most exciting thing that happened to me. Oh, I fell off a ladder twice. Had that going on. What's up, Pedro? Well, what's new on the island?
Well, if you watch the Wednesday show, you know that I have different LED lighting that I can switch, and it makes some difference. You can sort of see it change color. But no, I'm actually very much happy with the NHS here in the UK because they decided to, once this year is up and I get moved on to the next level, I get a very, very reasonable pay raise. So looking forward to that. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
Jordan, I've heard you won the lottery, man.
Yeah, Jordan's getting all the money.
Yeah, as it turns out, I'm now independently wealthy. So fuck all y'all. I'm gonna go retire to my island and buy a bunch of dinosaur bones. Yeah. No, I signed new contracts. I'm gonna be starting a new job with a company that is large, fucked, and is in desperate need of unfucking. So that's gonna be interesting.
It's always nice to be that guy until something goes horribly wrong. Then you're still that guy. You're like, God damn it.
Hey, man. For what I'm making in 6 months, I'll suck that dick.
A particular dick we suck each and every week is the horse.
Oh man, I can't even follow that up. It's the Steam.
Hang on, Linux update.
All right, talk about sucking dicks, Sven.
Oh,
tell us about it,
man. Let's talk about sucking some beta dicks. Steam Client beta update March 26. Hey, man, we talked about it. They added a high DPI mode, 3840 by 2160, even 1440 resolutions, and it was junk, man. It was just straight up 2x scaling. Here's the problem with this is you could cut it on, but to cut it off, you actually had to go in and dig around, find some config file, flip some bits, and they sorted it out. So they actually pushed that out in that state, and lo and behold, the natives were just a wee bit restless about it, man.
A little bit.
Oh man, yeah, no, that shit was jank, and they totally should have made that opt-in. And I'm sure like it took them like all of 20 minutes to add that tick box and push out the Steam beta, but at least my eyes can stop bleeding now. Holy moly, that was some bad shit.
It was bad. Look, it was I just can't believe they didn't add the checkbox. Like I absolutely can believe Valve would do some stupid shit like that.
It's Valve.
It is. It's 100%. But it's like to roll that out without the checkbox. It's like that had to have been like an internal bet somewhere inside the company. All I want here's high DPI mode, Valve. This is really easy to fix. Control zoom, enable that shit for your glorified fucking browser of an application. Then we're good. I don't need anything more than that.
Oh God! Could you imagine Electron Steam? That's even worse than 2x scaled Steam.
I mean, Steam is already kind of sort of Electron. It works off of the Chromium embedded framework, so it is basically Electron for all intents and purposes. But it's really bad. And they decided to do the single most stupid thing when it came to the scaling, which was, oh yeah, we'll just use the GTK thing and set the environment variable as if it was 2x. No one uses 2x. 1.5x at most. 1.25.
Right. And
that allows it.
Using it at 3040 by 2160 on my primary display, it takes up like 3/4 of the display. It's just, fuck off, Valve. Seriously. Get your shit together. They are trying to get some shit together in the form of stopping CSGO cheaters.
Oh yes, and they've engaged number 6 and Leoben and a couple of our other favorite toasters to go catch some cheaters. Valve has put together a cluster consisting of about 1,700 CPUs to run their little machine learning algorithm in order to better detect cheaters. Because normally they would have people reviewing footage and trying to determine whether it's cheating or not. Much like medical diagnosis, it turns out computers are way better at humans than this, or at this. So the success rate was significantly higher. I'm trying to, it was almost 99% for a while. And of course, as you know, the hacks change, they'd need to retrain this. But this is still some good news for not having fucking cheaters or idlers or whatever in your game ruining your experience. But it's also kind of daunting, right? Because I'm sure lots of companies would love to implement some such anti-cheat technology, but big old server farm like that is kind of pricey to set up.
It is an investment.
It's a gang of an investment. They also added with the CSGO rollout. Well, I guess we should say this is very typical Steam. It's like, let's find a way to automate this. And of course, because we're Valve and we like to do that. Fortunately, it looks like this is going to work actually better than, human involvement. They also threw in a 7-day cooldown period for CSGO skins, effectively nerfing the automated gambling web zones that, were straight up business for that. And I have not had all the popcorn, but I've had more than my fair share of popcorn going to the Reddits, watching just the straight up about how this has destroyed CSGO as a game, because skin trading is a vital part of the gaming experience. And
what is this, 1700s Canada and these people are Coeur de Bois? What the fuck is this nonsense? The game is ruined.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, there are quite a few YouTube videos of that. There were entire YouTube channels dedicated to CSGO skin things. They didn't really play the game all that much. It was mostly about the skins, unboxing them, trading them, doing the gambling with them.
Much like KFC, it's all about the skins.
Pretty much. But yeah, no, this is Valve using deep learning to better cheat detection. And it's a very Valve thing to do, just automate everything. And it works. According to the article, Valve said that the system right now, even though it's at early stages, it's got like 80%, 80 to 90% detection rate, while the human Overwatch players, as they call them, only they only have 15% conviction rate, so to speak. So yeah, it is most definitely an improvement. And last time I played CS:GO, I read it to every single game I played. There was a cheater with either an aimbot or a wall hack, and it was painfully obvious to anyone watching it. So it's good that they're doing something, at least.
Indeed, but ultimately I think building these big massive rigs is just a excuse to spend some of the fuck-mothering just...
Where's the fucking penguin, Ben? Where's the fucking penguin?
Oh no. We've summoned the plug penguin. No, he's shilling, but he's shilling for Valve because fuck all, they got the monies, man.
Oh yeah, they got $4.3 billion in 2017. But that is only counting games themselves. If you add in
and
DLC.
One thing to remember too, this is unofficial numbers as well. This is inferred from Steam Spy, which is nowhere near anything related to fact. This is by the way, from Extreme Tech in the show notes. Check it out.
Yeah, no, Valve they're a privately owned company. They don't have any public stock that they trade. So they don't have to put out their things unless there's a legal subpoena asking them to. So this is just an estimate gathered from Steam Spy, and just for the games themselves. Because if you were to add DLC and the movie rentals and everything else, the estimate is more along the line $7 billion. It's 6 point something. So it's a sizable chunk.
Well, it's just the money that they've taken in. It's not necessarily what they end up with the, at the end of the day after taxes, operating costs, and all. Jesus, fuck all glass desk, man. Dumbass Vin. Why did you try? Ow. But
it's not covered in pop.
Right. I might as well just covered it with razor blades. It'd probably be less painful. Check it out, man. They do say in the article, of the 21,000 games available on Steam, half of the company's revenue was delivered by the top 100 titles, to which I retort, people tend to buy good, popular titles. Also get that understood. I do believe, just a little bit, maybe just a little bit, that the real story is like, Valve gets cut of everything from Fortnite. I don't know. Is Fortnite on Valve Steam? No.
Yes.
Okay, it is now. Yeah. PUBG, all the way down to insert the title of whatever shovelware's on the Steam store tomorrow morning. And then
was it Trials of the whatever we reviewed last week?
Oh, that was actually an attempt at a game. I saw like some whatever Z shit start showing up yesterday. But on top of that, they still get that sweet, sweet Steam Direct application money, making it rain again. That, you just pay to play now. You give them $100 and they're like, yeah, if I can get it on the store, we don't care. So
that's it's interesting too, because the article does bring up that if you're a smaller studio, now it's basically impossible to get your game. It's nigh impossible to get your game promoted without actually doing the legwork, talking to influencers, clicking on that hate mail link at LinuxGameCast.com and submitting paid keys, that kind of stuff. But without doing that, given how the games on Steam are being sold, if you're a small indie studio, you're kind of fucked now.
Oh, yeah. A couple of games are like putting up. That's one thing I don't enjoy reading, but I think it's very informative when studios and indie teams do the post-mortems. They're like, yo, this is what happened. How could this have happened? Usually it's just shit management. They don't do the promotion, and they think, okay, because the days of just getting your title on Steam and
that being
having to dodge the avalanche of money, right, those days are gone, man. I mean, you could very well, I have talked to developers that's like, I've sold 6 copies in a month, and
well, even Greenlight was something of a hype machine. Now that's gone. Everything's lost in the flood.
Indeedly.
And no, as it turns out, the Fortnite is not on Steam.
No.
So, yeah.
Right. See? Spreading fake news. LGC cares. Valve time, network time. What's this about, man?
Oh, yes. So, Valve kind of open sourced a thing that doesn't require your game to be on Steam. This is the game networking sockets, and it is basically a way for you to get multiplayer working, similar to what you already get with Steamworks, but you can use it even for those games that you don't want to release on Steam. And I think this is a great idea. This is just awesome because you can have your game regardless of where you want to put it. If you just want to put it on itch, if you want to try to apply to GOG for some reason, you can. And you will have a decent enough multiplayer platform to work off of. So that's good.
Well, the main idea here is that it's supposed to have Steam-style socket management for reliable and unreliable UDP transmissions for non-Steam environments. And the idea is the system calls are the same, the file references are the same. So if you're, say, making a game that you want to release on Steam and use Steam's multiplayer services, but you also want to interact with, I don't know, PlayStation 4's networking services, so on and so forth, you have that option to sort of keep your code the same and predictable and not have too much in the way of branch drift, which is, you know, very useful as a development tool. And because this is open source, this can get hacked up and used to support a lot of other networking libraries. And it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I definitely want to say good guys Steam on that. It's not the first bit kit that they've open sourced with 2GL, Toggle, or whatever you want to call it. And so I'm glad they finally got it up. I was a bit worried because basically the entirety of this week, they said, coming soon, we're getting around to releasing it. It's like Valvetime, even on GitHub, man. You got to give them, they are at least consistent. What I would like to consider one of my all-time favorite games, Hollow Knight, has gotten a little bit of an update. The Lifeblood update is available for everyone in public beta, and it's still pretty good. You know how to do it. Right-click properties, go to the beta tab, public, download it, a couple hundred megs. For me, the big things that added the map markers, which I was really happy about, and a new boss fight. Those are definitely my highlights. It's got a couple of bugs, nothing that I ran into. I've probably given this maybe an hour or two of playtime, but I kind of had to step the fuck out of it because I forgot how unforgivingly hard this game is, and I fucking love it. But I can't spend an entire day rage quitting and coming back to a singular boss. Probably one of the best, if not the best, 2D platformers built with the Unity engine, and definitely the best controls I've ever seen input handling for a game with Unity. It's currently 34% off, $9.89. There you go, Team Jerry. Free plug, and it runs really good.
They do recommend you back up your Steam or your save game because the beta will mess with it. They only give you the Windows path though, so you can look under .config local Unity 3D and then follow the rest of the path from Team Cherry onwards. Yeah, don't fuck up your save and then be like, oh man, now I got to suffer through another. I've gone through like 30 hours of Hollow Knight. I don't want to have to redo 30 hours of Hollow Knight just to get back to where I was.
I'm at 53 hours and a 95% completion, man. So
yeah, so if your save game got fucked, you'd be pissed.
Hi, I'm YOLO Vin. How are you doing?
Well, if it's still working, you can probably still back it up.
We'll see, man. Rocket cars, connection issues. Going to not be a thing of the past. You're just going to know about them, but you probably already would know about them, right?
Yeah, well,
because we've seen
it tells you exactly what the issue you're having, and about 50% of them can actually be resolved on your ends. They got the disconnected server health, packet loss, latency variation, and high latency. The thing that Foxdog is going to see a lot of.
That's what I'm going to say. Does that even blink? It's just comes up and just stays there. Foxy, you need to be careful, man, because like screen burn-in's a thing, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, but now you can figure out if the fucking lag that's screwing you up is on your end network wise or on the remote end, and maybe you can do something about it. Probably you can't, but it's the thing. It's coming up in the tournament update soon.
Hey man, that's
admittedly, I have seen the symbol that they're now using for disconnected. I've seen that symbol many times on accounts of crappy UK internet, what I had for the first couple months that I was here. So I've seen that symbol a lot, but it's good that they're actually adding more, and they actually tell you, okay, so that might actually be an issue on my end, or oh no, that's a server issue, or yeah, I'm just trying to connect to a server in freaking California from the UK, so high latency is to be expected.
Sharks are eating your packets, yeah.
Indeed, that's not the only bit of Rocket League news we have for this week.
No, chat bans. It's a thing that's going to be happening. Well, it has been happening. You used to be getting nope for about 24 hours. Now you are just getting muted on the chat. You can still use the pre-selected messages, but you're throttled to one every 5 minutes. And if after this grace period ends and you're still talking shit and trolling people on Rocket League, then they're gonna look at kicking you off. And I mean, like, people are gonna rage and whatnot, but it's much like anti-cheat software. You got to curate your community because you want people to actually play
multi-week. You have to be a cunt with stamina and with staying power in order to get a permanent ban in Rocket League, man.
Yeah, exactly. So people are gonna fucking bitch and moan, but the fact of the matter is, this is necessary to excise the people who you don't want in your fucking competitive game, because otherwise people are not going to buy your game and continue to play it.
You know, I can't help but feel like, in terms of actually punishing people for being dicks, this is taking a step back, because they used to just, okay, you got a 24-hour ban because you were being a dick. And yeah, that's deserved. You can't play the game online. That's a pretty significant fuck you if you were, cussing people online. But I guess also banning people makes them less likely to spend money on, say, the loot boxes. It makes them less likely to get those loot boxes, makes them less likely to feel like spending money. Oh, if I'm getting banned, why would I want to spend money on this loot box? So, yeah, no, I can see why they did that, but it's not going to help.
I don't know, man. The people who rage online with this type of shit, nothing is ever going to fix that. You're not these people's parents, and you're like, what's the kids? Dude, I've seen some 30 and 40-year-olds do that exact same shit, man. This has when you disconnect the hairless, tailless apes from another person and just say you can say anything without consequences, shit like this, age knows no limits. So what do we have up next?
Up next, we have Heliborne. They have a new update out, version 0.92, the Transport Renaissance. Is that how you spell it? Sure enough. It is actually. They spelled that right. Okay. All right. So it is a new update for Heliborne, and the big one is the special day for transport helicopters, where you can do sling loading. Instead of having to land and wait for things to load, you can actually have the load already waiting for you on the ground, and you can just sling it and pick it up and carry it wherever you want.
But can I sling blade?
I don't know. They've also added an online single player mode, as they call it. If you don't want to play with other people, even though they emphasize, yes, you should be playing with other people. This is supposed to be a multiplayer game, but you can now play online without having to all by yourself, without having to just create a new lobby and put a password in it so other people can join.
Hey man, this is definitely one of those games where the game's $19.99 if you want to buy it, but no, if you want to have some fun, not really. $47.87 worth of DLC. We threw some chairs at this. It wasn't a horrible game. It just
don't play with your Steam controller though.
Oh boy, no.
Don't do it.
And it's not necessarily bad, maybe a little overpriced, but it's got a community. I mean, but you got to remember that this is that type of community. This is what they do. They get home, they get off work, they go play Heliborne. So, and yeah, it's the thing. I mean, it's an arcade simulation. It's SimCity in the sky, baby, with sling blades.
Get to the chopper, man.
Get to chopper. So Akira Gumi has got some DLC coming out, man. This game wasn't a bad game. I felt like we didn't give it enough attention because, it's reasonably pretty. It's Stealth Ninja, and it's got multiplayer, and the objective is to get from point A to point B on the map preferably without going on a killing rampage, which makes me a horrible person to play this game with because I have impulse issues. But they're going to be throwing some.
No, it's great because then you can go kill everyone, and I can sneak up behind them while they're chasing you.
All right. DLC is going to be dropping. I'm assuming this is going to be paid, but they're going to add two new characters, 3 new shadow techniques, 4 new story chapters, and you can play the campaign with a friend in cross-platform online multiplayer. So it's a Unity title. Quit bragging about that. Required keyboard and mouse with secondary click enabled or gamepad. Cool. It runs under Linux. Runs barely.
Reasonably. It runs really well. Yeah.
It's a Unity 5 game. Everything's cell shaded, so it looks well. It's going to age better. And yeah, I mean, multiplayer ninja shenanigans might be good for a stream.
It definitely.
And the new campaign seems to be more focused on the multiplayer than the original game was, so that's something to look forward to.
Well, that I kind of listen, man. I wish they would just add a mode for like just pull out your fucking swords and get crazy with the fucking cheese whiz. You know, just
yeah. No, there's not an emphasis on multiplayer. It's just there are 2 different characters you can play as, and instead of just being fucking Sub-Zero Scorpion palette swap, you can actually be another person.
Or what if they did like a massive multiplayer, like Blue Shift type things, man, where you could be plays the NPCs versus the 2.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of that's what Crystal Lake is. Yeah, sort of, kind of, not really.
Yeah, possibly. It's a better love story than this Mulan Mertan thing that came out. Hey, you might want to check it out because it's priced to sell, free to play. What is it? Natural Selection fucking 2. And much like Natural Selection 2, this motherfucker don't work at all. It's even got trees in it that don't work. I don't know how do you make non-working trees, but they fucking did it. And why do I say that? Because this is Unreal Engine 4, and they did not do the basic test. I think they tried to launch it in a VM. They're like, good enough. Put it on the fucking store. Give it to them. It doesn't have a cursor. It does the Unreal Engine 4. If you think about games, I think the biggest one that was guilty of this is Observer, published by Aspire at 3840 2160. Jordan, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Upper left-hand corner, 1080 window. Yeah, when you try to play in anything other than that. Immediately does that. That immediately tells you it's Unreal Engine 4. This is straight up like a knockoff of Natural Selection 2, and I couldn't get it to run, period. I don't know if anybody else tried it.
No, I didn't give it a whirl, but I will say that Murnaton is Natanurm backwards.
Oh, well, it has that going for it, question mark? I don't know, man.
I don't know. I would have very much liked to see another Natural Selection 2 that isn't Natural Selection 2, that isn't as busted as Natural Selection 2. But I guess we already have that. It's called Unvanquished. Should actually try that game. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
also open source.
That is like the best version of Natural Selection 2 on Linux is Unvanquished. And yeah. And hey, man, I know the community's been doing what they can with Natural Selection 2 after the devs are like, thanks for the money and all the fish, bitches. Here, you guys fix it. We're out. Wash those hands. And so Yearn to Learn, A Tyrant's Conquest. It's the thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Turn-based strategy. This one has a neat little twist, or not necessarily an original one. Warlock at Firetop Mountain, the Steve Jackson game, actually did this as well, where when they say simultaneous turn-based strategy, what it means is everyone makes their move not knowing what everyone else did, and then it gets resolved. And I've noticed that can go one of 2 ways. Number one is everyone just gets super good at prediction and like setting up traps. But the more likely thing that happens is everyone queues up attacks that all just do nothing, and you spend the entire game chasing each other around in a circle because you're trying to hit them, and they're like, "No, don't move that way, move this way." What's the deal with this game? It's coming out on April 6th. It apparently just needs a processor, RAM, and a hard drive, which is kind of nice. And apparently it can. Do they have multiplayer? They have multiplayer and split screen. But I'm not sure if this is online multiplayer or not. It could be like one of those interesting like after show games where each of us sets up like a secondary stream so you can see what we're doing and then watch us all our plans just get fucked by Why would you do that, Finn? Why would you do that?
That would encourage people to watch, because then you're dealing with stream delay. Then it just gets the fuckery, it compounds on top of itself, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, but it's coming out. That's about it. It's tailor made for gamepads, apparently. I mean, maybe they'll pull a tooth and tail, and it'll actually be decent for strategy on
possibly, man. So, Pedro, one thing I learned about millennials and Millennium Editions is, by definition, the average millennial is like mid-30s to late 30s. So it's always amusing when I see like a teenager, early 20s, like, I'm a millennial. It's like, no, you're not, sweetheart. But this game is.
No. Yeah, no, this is the Millennium Edition for STRAFE. It's a Unity game which was released almost a year ago, and it took the developers their sweet-ass time to finally release it on Linux, but it's here now, and I shot them an email, and they said, oh, there you go, here's some keys. So we're going to be throwing chairs at it later on, so stay tuned. It is, as they describe it, the world's bloodiest roguelike first-person shooter, and, well, you'll see in the review, but there's definitely some merit to those claims.
Yeah, man, it's $14.99, and we'll be talking about it during our quality assurance section. What does it require to run? Just Ubuntu 12.04 later. So basically,
just you want to
basically,
yeah, get that live CD.
F-mothering thumb drive. I would say it had a gang of issues, but they were also, most of those were resolved with a little bit of a patch that like showed up 2 hours before we went live. More news on that at 11. So, Wild True Learn. What?
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, apparently VR is coming for this freaking game, too. Or so the in-game dialogue says. Maybe it will be on Linux.
All right. I just want to give everyone an update. We've lost 2 tiles.
Oh, that's what that sound was. Yeah. Okay.
That's what I was like, what the fuck? All right.
All right, so up next we have Wild True: Learn, open parentheses, close parentheses, and it's in early access. It's actually reasonable enough. It's 10% off. That's £4.67 over here, and it's a game where you have to set up basically machine learning. You set it up with some visual coding. You drag and drop some stuff around, and you figure out the best way to do it. And your goal is to find a way to get your character to get enough money to feed himself and his cat. So it's... I'd say this is less of a game and more of a recruitment tool for the secret future plans that Nival or Luden.io have in mind for people who play this game and do really good at it. But yeah, we'll see.
I don't know, man.
I'm just curious if the...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm curious if the game actually factors in if you can't afford to feed your cat, at what point does the cat actually try to eat you after you're starved to death?
Well, that's going to fucking... Maybe your cat goes out and gets a real job and like breaks up with you and goes on to have a family and a successful career. Renee dropped a note in our show notes, says, way too many screenshots of the guy sitting at the computer. Yeah, it's a simulator, though. Hit a little close to home, man.
Yeah, I mean, like it's one of those educational games that'll actually probably teach you something, because everyone's talking about machine learning and no one knows what the fuck it actually is.
We should be talking about crypto, blockchain things, or so. I don't know. I don't care either.
Listen, you'll be able to buy time with your AI sex robot with Bitcoin. That's how it all ties in.
Okay, got it. Get us that.
Coming up next, Giggity. We talk about some NVIDIA drivers, and also Crow Team lays an egg in your chest.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wouldn't you know it? It's time for... No, it's not time for the news just yet.
You promised me it was time for the news. You've been lying to me for like...
We will get to the news. Don't you worry.
Fine.
First, I need to let Jordan first do his thing. Yeah.
Wow, I would have actually lost that bet. I thought he was going to do some like male stripper illusion. I was going to get all naked this time, but you know, I guess you guys get spared that. No, you can head on over to LinuxGameCast.com, click that support the show button. We got all sorts of interesting stuff for you to click on. What's that? What's that an ad for? Scroll up a bit. See it? Okay, SIM cards. I was hoping for like.
Hey man, no, listen, we're bringing you the real deals, man. SIM card plus 0 equal Mo plan. We're bringing you the 4G LTE Mo plan here at Linux Gamecast Weekly. Hey, check this business up. Patreon's awesome. We got Amazon affiliate links, Newegg affiliates. Hey man, thanks for shopping through those Amazon affiliate links. That shit helps us out. Doesn't cost you anything. Brilliant, humble.
It does.
People, we had a bundle this week. We're going to talk about it in a hot minute, but we had a lot of people shop through that, and we've raised like $170 something for charity because that also gets factored in when people do that. Thank you so much for that. But we got to thank the real MVPs over at Patreon. I guess we need to. Damn it! All right. Begrudgingly, I need to thank Strider. Because he has caged our fucking studio with this glorious, glorious 24 by 36 image of the one true God.
Superman?
Yes. And, you know, hey, man, Frank even traveled to hell because, you know, the Pope said hell wasn't real this week. Frank's like, fuck that, man. I got a place there. So he went to go chill out, and you can see Strider, Frenchie.
He took the fuck wall with him.
He's on the fucking fuck wall, baby, because he's going to be there for all time. It's kind of brilliant. Live from hell, man.
Be careful.
Linux.
That Bristol board might burn.
Linux technology. We have a live feed from hell with Frank hanging it. We still can't get the audio working quite right. But tell us about that Patreon thing, man. I've never heard about it. Is that a good way to help us?
Well, no, it's actually the worst way to help us. But you know, if you feel like giving us money anyways, you might want to check it out. Patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. All sorts of neat shit. You can get early access to the show notes, access to our Discord channel. We're doing some Friday night streams where you can come and play some games with us. It's going to be good fun. We're there playing some Road Redemption.
No. We were not playing. We were playing Murder Tricycles.
Seems legit. All sorts of cool stuff. Join it. Give us money. You get cool stuff in return, exclusive access to videos, access to the show notes. You can even submit stories or add comments, and it can be like you're also involved with making the show. It's great.
Shit, son. So, they become, like, in their own way, they straight up become our bosses. It's kind of terrifying, but they do get access.
It is.
They do get access to. Jill's on the show now because looks like we're going to close this month out at the goal over 250 wet stinky caches.
Oh yeah.
So Jill will be joining us, but yeah, man, you get access to our Discord so you can hang out with us the other 6 days of the week. It's a terrifying, horrible idea. Don't do it. If you do, don't tell your adults. They will be genuinely cross with you. Okay, that's enough shilling. Let's get right into the thanks everyone for supporting
and starting us off with some drivers.
Linux x86. Hey man, we got some new drivers. 390, not 24, 390 48. It's the real business. And I think they just added some support for the GV100 and stuff. But the hot news is fixed a bug with just the blinky nastiness. This is a real thing. This is a genuine issue that Pedro and I know very well on the Ubuntus with Chrome, Vivaldi, anything based on Chromium, is you just get this random blinky fuckery, and it was a damn nightmare. And for like a month, NVIDIA went radio silent on this issue. Like, we can't reproduce this. And I'm like, well, give me the fucking box that you can't reproduce it on. Let me use that one. Definitely said that. They got around to sorting it, and yeah, it is fixed. And I should say for the Ubuntus, because this fucking driver, the run file, trying to build this would not jive in 1710. I tried the hard way, the old school way, because, you know, on any other distribution, it would just work. But it's in the PPA now. You can install it. It works with I'm on 4.15. Whatever it is this fucking week. No issues. It didn't fix the herky-jerk issues with Chrome. So if you want to migrate that performance hit, you can run Chrome with a no sandbox option. And
which is highly not recommended.
Do it.
Yeah, the big thing was the black tearing that you used to get, and it was especially noticeable for someone like me. Whenever there's a new driver version out, I just run superposition, Unigine.
Oh, I thought you were just going to leave it at like, I just run. It's like never to be heard of.
Yeah. Run so far away all night and day.
I hate exercising. That's just me. But no, whenever there's a new driver version out, I run Unigine superposition, at 1080p Extreme, just to see if there's any performance delta, if NVIDIA is doing that thing that they're known to do, which is cripple the performance of their previous generation GPUs in order to boost the sales of the more recent ones. And that was making it
allegedly
obvious.
Speculation, because I've not witnessed that. Pedro likes to just make shit up if you're new to the show, so...
It's not a new thing.
Lots of people are saying it, so it's a widely believed fact.
Yes, it's a widely believed fact. I'll take Jordan's thing with that one. I'll take it for $1,200. In any case, the the new drivers actually fixed the black tearing issues that were happening whenever I started Unigine superposition on 1080p Extreme, which was very much noticeable. And I told them as much in the NVIDIA Dev Talk forums, which is where you should go if you have any issues. Chances are someone else has already run into that issue, and you can just add a comment on that thread saying, yo, this affects me too. I'm running this distro with this graphics card. It's actually very, very helpful. That was English, I think.
Pedro, at this point, if anybody's watched more than 2 episodes, they've tapped out on you Englishing. They just roll with it, man.
Listen, at this point, the Google subtitle service just superimposes question marks.
No. It's just captioned. It says Pedro speaking. It's like horn blaring or car alarm going off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sobs quietly.
390.
So I bit the bullet. I've been holding off on upgrading to the 3.15 kernel on Fedora, and I finally decided, you know what? Fuck it. I got Friday off. I'm gonna go fuck myself over. Lo and behold, incredibly painless. No real issues. No problems so far. I didn't have to force any weird compiler overrides.
I was about to say the 42 version caused a little bit of fuckery on your Fedora box, didn't it?
Yeah. It was because the kernel was built with for subversion 17 of GCC, and the driver itself was built with some other version. It was a minor override thing. You set an environment variable, and no real issues. And I haven't seen any issues here so far. So all good in Fedora land.
I think it's very good to know that it runs on 3.15 kernels.
Yes. Yeah. There was a little typo there. Fuck it, yeah. Listen, you miss all the artifacting and the slowdowns that really improve your gameplay when you're on an older kernel, right?
It brings you the true experience, man. It's yeah. All right, whatever. Humble bundle.
Absolutely. Humble bundles.
Humble Indie Bundle 19. I hope you're ready to humble, because it's a new thing, and it's the one that supposedly has all the Linuxy titles, what you're looking for. Well, it does. I'll give it that. It's got Halcyon 6, Mini Metro, Rockwin, or however you say that, Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, Soma, and Polybridge if you pay more than the average. And if you decide to fork out, say, $14 or £9.94, you can also get Superhot. Now, and you also get $2 off the Humble Wallet credit for monthly subscribers, which I'm not one of them. So if you are, maybe that's a thing for you. I don't know. But I got this bundle because I figured $14, that's about enough for Superhot that I can justify to myself in all the other games I still don't have. So, yeah.
I couldn't do it, man. I tried.
I was just gonna say, Keep Talking and Superhot are kind of the standout games here for me that I wanted, because I actually played VR Superhot, and that's really fun. So I guess I'm gonna give it a whirl with desktop and see how well that goes. And if you don't have Soma, it's all right. It's not terrible. It's just not a good horror game. Install the No Monster mod and then just experience the story, and you'll be good. Yeah,
I think I now have 3 keys for Soma. If anybody needs a copy of Soma, call me. Maybe we can work something out. A little bit on this one, because Superhot was $14, normally $19.99. Not that great a deal. I do kind of feel Humble might need to kick it up a notch, because it used to be with Humble Bundles came out, even as much as, say, just a year ago, definitely 2 years ago, we were seeing Linux titles for the first time arriving in these Humble Bundles.
New Linux games.
Not the case anymore. This is stuff that's been out for a while. I did pick it up for Keep Talking, No One Explodes. couldn't get to Super Hot because it's something I'm going to play for 3 minutes, and it's like I know I'm not going to dig that. But I do want to say with Keep Talking and No One Explodes, you get an option for Steam keys or Oculus keys. So you filthy dual booting heathens are going to have a tough choice on that one. That's a thing. Up next, Crow Team, our favorite Croatian psychopaths, are back with a brilliant, well, not a new idea, but I think a good on them idea, Jordan.
Oh yeah. Because you see, Epic does their thing to sort of help support game development by releasing free assets and giving away money. Crow Team has kind of taken a more hands-on approach, let's say. So they started up a Crow Team incubator a while ago, where they get a bunch of Croatian devs to like come in. Some of their employees have ideas for games or projects they want to work on, and so they bring in developers, they bring in students and whatnot, and they have them hack away on some games, which is actually a really cool idea because co-locating people with knowledge is usually really good, because even if they're working on different projects, you can be like, hey man, I got some problem here. Did you run into this? Did you deal with it? Yeah, I did. Here's some source code. Go fix it, which is really, really, really good. What is it? So yeah, they're providing funding, they're providing resources. They have a beta of a game they've been working on called I Hate Running Backwards, which kind of seems like a voxely in reverse version of Serious Sam's Bogus Detour, but you know, it is what it is. And you know, letting people work together, creating, you know, functional teams that can go and produce better content is actually just a good benefit to Crow Team.
No, it's definitely a thing. And I think one of the things that makes me happy with it being Crow Team, there's nothing 100% guaranteed. This is not written in stone anywhere, but I do think it drastically increases the chances of things coming out of this incubator for no other reason than someone at Crow Team going, this is how you do cross-platform development, and this is why you do cross-platform development. So we might be seeing some Linux titles.
Yeah, and anything that'll bring more Linux titles is great. And I love Crow Team. I do. They make really awesome games, but they need to do something else because, yeah, we had the Talos principle, and good on them for actually working on Vulkan and showing that Vulkan is exactly what people expected. It can bring better performance to lower-end systems. And it can help in those cases where you have a CPU that's not so good, like my old FX8370E and Ven's old FX8150. That was awesome, and I need to see more of that, and I want to see more of that, especially with newer games coming out from them, because, well, they make good games. I want more.
So Godot, man, they headed down to that old GDC, that old hat, and
that old game developer conference.
Hey, man,
yeah. So they did, and they had a little timeline. Apparently, in 2016, no one knew about Godot. 2017, a couple people knew about Godot. 2018, people seem to love a open source engine that allows them to do 3D. It's cross-platform and free. So
I like this. 2016, no one knows about Godot.
Yeah, and what I find interesting is like casinos are going nuts about Godot. They're building slot machines and like gambling experiences off of Godot, which seems like a really neat idea. But there's probably some really illicit, like crazy mob money getting funneled into Godot at this point. But hey, man, they're making good tools, so I got nothing bad to say about that.
One of the reasons that he says right here, the main reason for that is other commercial engines have a expensive gambling license, which I didn't even know about, and their source code is pretty difficult to deal with. So, all right.
Yeah. The other thing too is people in South America and Europe seem to be really, really keen on adopting Godot because they like free open source tools that allow them to put out high quality content. And Godot is one of those projects that actually is like one of the very few open source projects that actually puts a lot of emphasis on polish of the tools, so that they're so that they're easy to use, so that people are more incentivized to actually use them. So it's all well and good. Godot seems to be going on strong because it kind of came out of nowhere. It's like, hey, we're an open source, primarily 2D engine. We made an adventure game, and all of a sudden, everyone's jumping on that. And
oh yeah, man! I remember when it first started out, and they had that fucked up, creepy looking bug mascot, and we're like, "Yo, kill that, get rid of it." They did. Good on them.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully,
Yeah,
though, given the open source nature of this, people will use Godot, but actually contribute back to them. Otherwise, we're going to get an open SSL situation where everyone's using it and no one maintains it.
Yeah, and no, they do have a Patreon campaign for that, so by all means, if you use Godot or if you've played something in the past that you like and you have the income to, spare, by all means, go and fund them. But one of the things they said in the article they wrote is the smaller indie developers, they're not picking up on Godot at all. It's like the medium size and the big companies that are actually using it because they see, oh, it's open source, it's easy to use, and it's flexible. So why aren't
it's real simple, man. You start out and you're hanging out with your friends and you're learning, you're in high school, you're doing this shit. What's everybody using? Everybody's using fucking Unity. We're the big ass resources. We're the, easy to pirate asset packs and shit. I'm just telling you shit. We're talking high schoolers and people in secondary school like that. That's why. Answer your questions right there. Then they graduate. And let's say they get out of university. What do they fucking know? They know fucking Unity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and what
Unity is definitely the big player right now.
What I kind of found interesting is like if you go to like small local cons, you'll sometimes see like local game developers set up shop to demo their games, and I've noticed that a couple of them now are like when I go up and ask them like what kind of tech are you using, they're like, oh, we're on Godot, and I just light up. I'm like, oh, good on you. Yeah, use Godot.
You should mock them relentlessly. I'm like, what is your problem? Why do you hate freedom? Just confuse them. Throw it to them. Packaging wine applications, so Path of Exile with Flatpak, not snaps, not app images, but Flatpaks.
Yes, Flatpaks, because that's what John Ramsden seems to like. And he wanted to test out Flatpaks, and he wanted to see just how far he could push Flatpak integration and what he could make run out of the box with it. And as it turns out, he could get Path of Exile to run with wine off of a Flatpak, which is awesome. It was always easy enough to get Path of Exile running with wine. It wasn't really hard. I think there's one or two wine tricks things that you need to install, and you should always set a dedicated prefix for each and every game, unless they use the same engine, at which point you could probably get away with using the same one for both of them. But with this one, he got Path of Exile running really well. He gives you all the instructions that you need to build your own Flatpak from sauce, or if you have the flat system already set up, you can just install his own, the one that he built, and chances are it's probably going to work because it's Flatpak. That's what it was designed to do. So good on him. This, as it stands, it removes the annoying part of setting up the prefix and downloading the client and doing all that. Though I wouldn't mind a page in FlatHub dedicated to these wine bottles, quote unquote.
Well, so here's the thing too, is that pirates have been using this technique for about a year now. Now that easy like sort of application-based containerization is a thing. A lot of pirated games are coming with like, oh, hey, we'll run on your Linux, we'll package it in Flatpak. And yeah, this should sort of have the alternate title of how to virtual programming better than virtual programming. And it's good to see that there are some, like Pedro said, that there are some resources now that will instruct you on how to do this. And we were talking about this in either the pre-Super Chosen or the pre-show about how GOG could probably leverage something like this to sort of, ship some wine games to their platform.
Yes, as soon as someone goes over there and starts working for GOG that gives more than negative fucks about Linux. Yeah, maybe.
What about Ivan Van Gogh? That guy seems to be doing stuff for Linux.
Oh yes, the one guy that they have for some reason.
That poor sacrificial
really
lamb who has a Twitter and I think did 4 tweets for one day. And he's like, yeah, all right, fuck this. I'm out. Peace. Pillars taking an eternity.
Yeah, so Pillars of Eternity. We threw some chairs at it a while ago. I like it. It's sort of a Baldur's Gate style RPG, reimagined in Unity with a modern game engine and not using AD&D second edition rules. And they had a sequel that was kickstarted, Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, and it's been getting some delays. It's apparently being delayed by about a month. It was supposed to be out on April 3rd. Now, supposedly it'll be out on the 8th of May. We have no idea why this is the case. It's pure speculation. They're probably dealing with some last-minute showstopper bugs, or maybe they're just adding microtransactions. Who knows?
Okay, I kind of know what the hell it is. Confirm Linux port, or is it something like, hey, then the game's going to get released in 6 years from now? We'll finish and deliver.
No, confirm Linux port. It's a Unity game.
That don't confirm. I can give you a fucking game of Unity games that are not on Linux right now.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it was a Unity game that was also on Kickstarter that promised the Linux version, so that means jack diddly shit.
They did deliver the last one on time.
Yeah,
so.
they did. Obsidian, they have many flaws. I still remember KOTOR 2 when it first released Obsidian. I still remember that. I still remember Neverwinter Nights 2. But no, they've actually been good with the Linux support, so hopefully this will be out on Linux at the same time as it is on Windows. Hopefully.
All right.
Coming up next, it's just a jump to the left and a step to the right. Put your hands on your hips, pull your knees in tight, but it's the pelvic thrust that really drives you insane. Let's do that CHAIRQASITION again. Oh man, we were just watching Frank burn, but you know what? He has
burn
a pure
for
heart.
your sins.
Yeah, no. Listen, he has a pure heart. He'll be fine. He keeps it in like a box far away from us. This is the CHAIRQASITION. This is where we pick up a game, talk about it, we play it. We do a little possible quality assurance that the devs may have neglected before pushing it out to prod, and then we give you a score based on chairs. But more on that in a little bit. We're doing this for STRAFE Millennium Edition. It's by Pixel Titans. It's on the Unity game. What is it? STRAFE is a roguelike first-person shooter that generates unique, full levels every time you play. Handcrafted rooms are randomly linked together.
I got to give them a little bit of credit, man. I just noticed they're in their video. They're using a gateway monitors. Like, that is not a name I've heard in a long time.
Oh yeah, dude. I had a gateway like convertible tablet computer, man. That was a thing back then. Anyways, hungry enemies. So each run provides you a new bloody challenge as you seamlessly slaughter your way through 4 diverse locations in unknown deep space. Devs did send us some keys for this, so thanks on that. And yeah, let's kick it off. CHAIRQASITION. 1 chair means that's garbage. 2 chairs means that's math. 3 chairs means it's pretty good. 4 chairs means that's awesome. And we got our categories of doom, mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So, Ven, you had some issues getting this up and running. Why don't you tell us about it?
I think we all had a bunch of issues with this. We had a gang of fucking issues with this thing, mixed with working on the 1710, 415, 390, 42, whatever we just talked about earlier in the news section. The drivers that work, thanks NVIDIA for getting those out. They just dropped a patch like 2 hours before we started the pre super shows, and it pretty much resolved everything. But before that, you could have any resolution you wanted in this game as long as it was 3840 by 2160 full screen. I mean, I dug deep. I even went so far as to actively summon the Unity screen of Nope and set it to windowed mode. And it was like, yeah, fuck you. I'm just going to do a full screen. And that's all. There was no way to override it. The patch, it sorted it. You're wondering how it runs 3840 by 2160 with the 980 displayed at UHD. Getting a solid 90 to 100 at 1080p, 120 plus. Something I've been noticing with Unity titles lately, with the Ryzen 1700 clocked at 3.7, taking advantage of all 16 threads, seeing about 12 to 20% usage. It's using about 3.5 to 4 gigajoules of RAM on top of that. But yeah, man, this thing's been out for a few hot minutes. It works now. I'll throw you a solid 2 on that. That's a pass.
Yeah, no real issues here. Aside from, I do get a bit of the herky jerk still, even after that patch. But it's always localized to specific rooms and specific like parts of rooms, which isn't enough to ding at a chair. But on Fedora 26 64-bit with the 415 kernel, latest NVIDIA drivers, GTX 980, 60 or 32 gigs of RAM, and a big ol' NVMe drive. It runs about 3 chairs worth of good.
Yep. Over here on Ubuntu 16.04, still running a 16.04, go figure. It sec faults when you exit the game, regardless of whether you use the exit button in the main menu, or you just quit to the desktop in game, or you just hit Alt F4. It always sec faults. Now, there were a few other issues, namely when you got to level 2.1, there was an infinite loading screen, and if you saved the game at that point, you would just get stuck on an infinite loading screen until you wiped your save game or did a little trick by going into the tutorial and ending your run.
Tutorial?
The tutorial, yes. It would actually reset your whatever run you had going on right then.
So all the stuff you're describing right now has been fixed. It's not a problem anymore.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all been fixed. There was an 85 megabyte patch this morning, and it fixed most of the issues, but the sec fault at when you exit is still there, so it gets 3 chairs.
Brilliant.
All right, well, that's 2 chairs for makes it working. Up next is the shiny and the sounds. Yeah. Here's one of these things that I like when games actually manage to pull it off. I wasn't actually paying attention to the graphics because I was actually having a little too much fun playing the game to notice the graphical fidelity. So that speaks well to it, right? Because the graphics stay out of the way. They express the gameplay, and yeah, all the enemies are clearly delineated. I don't feel like you don't seem to get like enemy or character blind at all when you're playing this game, which is always a plus, especially with like the hipster pixel aesthetic. It's like Voxels meets Quake 2 meets Minecraft meets. We tried to make a Doom, but it's still Unity, so there's still 3D shit floating around in the background. Yeah, the sound design is actually pretty decent too. Like there's enough directional sound where you hear a noise and they're like, oh, there's an enemy coming from over there. I should probably shoot at it before it gets too close. And the music doesn't really do much for me, but it's there, not offensive enough for me to ding a chair. So I'll give it 3. What about you, Pedro?
Well, there are 2 sticking points for me specifically that keep me from giving it 4 chairs. The Minecraft look to your weapons and the environments, it's all very blocky, and the abrupt cuts in the music. Now, good music sort of melds into the game to improve the experience. And while it's playing in Strafe, it does that. It accomplishes exactly that. It sounds really good, and it gives you that feeling that, yes, this is the game you should be playing. This is a fast-paced action, first-person shooter, roguelike type of thing. And then it just cuts off. And when it simply cuts off like that, it brings me out of the game. It breaks my immersion, as it were. And seeing as I can still get immersed in Strafe, even with the blocky graphics, and only the music cut off is the thing that breaks me out of it, I think that's deserving of 3 chairs.
Check this business out. QuakeGL, Quake 2, they had a baby. They got together. The resulting offspring was fused with Minecraft using duct tape and spite. If you ever wanted to play Quake with a Doom color palette, this is the fucking business for you, man. Blocks all up in your face, Oregon. It is a thing. I can't really tell if it's like going for that aesthetic or if just programmer art not completely sure music. Hey, man, it doesn't completely suck, but I actually wrote sound effect. Leave plenty to be desired. There's more than one sound effect, ladies and gentlemen. It's not bad. It's passable. It gets the job done. Kind of like 2 chairs, man. Again, you passed by on this one.
Well, that's 2 chairs for shiny and the sounds. How about the controls, then?
Boom. WASD plus gerbil equals logical, reasonable, crisp. Considering it's a Unity joint, that's not something we get to say, but then again, it's kind of hard to fuck that up. You're a special breed of human being if you're able to screw that one. Tight controls. Tight controls. I like it. So it does kind of throw back to Quake, and it has that fast-paced movement with it. And yeah, you're going to be digging on that. Nothing to complain about. However, I am going to ding this thing a chair for that dog shit configuration menu. What the hell? Unity, I mean, you can try to disguise that all you want, but fuck that thing, man. I'll give you a 3 on that.
Well, over
yeah,
here... All right, I'll go on then. Over here, I was actually surprised to see separate mouse sensitivity sliders for both the X and Y axis. You can also rebind all the keys. Why am I so happy about this when, for all intents and purposes, this should be basic functionality? Well, because you don't see that a lot nowadays, especially with Unity titles. So, as far as I'm concerned, it gets the full 4.
Boom.
All right. Yeah. I got no issues here. Controls are pretty tight. No complaints. You point, you WASD, you click and shoot. 4 chairs. That's 3 chairs for the controls. Let's put a bow on it. Do you have fun? I did. It's not a bad little shooter. The roguelike elements keep things fresh because the rooms are varied enough. They're like Carcassonne tiles where you can fit them together in a couple different configurations, and you get a fairly distinct room or level for it. That's all well and good. Pedro's going to get into it a little bit more, but you basically you pick a weapon and you're stuck with it. Sometimes you will find other better weapons strewn about, but they got like maybe 4 or 5 shots left in them, and you can't buy more ammo for them either. So you're basically stuck using your starter weapon throughout the entire thing, which, I mean, you get used to it. And to the game's credit, there are at least at several points a couple options to upgrade your main weapon so that it has a higher mag capacity, has a higher rate of fire, lets you kill things more efficiently, just like a good old dungeon crawler. Hell, there's even little unlockable things you can do, like turning it into an RPG or making the gravity pull everything towards the walls. That was fun while you're trying to track down a blue card. But yeah, I TIL, if you checked out the pre Super Chosen, you'll learn what the bazooka is if you combine all the main weapons at the start. I didn't fuck around with it long enough, but I did manage to get through 2 levels without killing a single thing just by ducking and weaving. I had fun playing this game. It's a fun little shooter. It's competently well designed, and yeah, I'll give it a solid 3 chairs.
All right, so it seems like you liked it. I'm going to stay here in the middle and tell you what my issues with it, because Pedro really seemed to like it. It's a rogue-like, not my thing, man. It's kind of like I get killed to death, and why exactly, more importantly, do I want to continue playing? I'm not sure about that. I think the reload's taking a little too long. Enemy placement, kind of slapdash. It's all over the fucking place. AI is definitely Quake 1 plus, like Quake 1 plus short bus, if I'm being kind. They're just kind of there. A little bit of strategy, peek around corners, just kind of nope them without having to go through too much. The AI, again, really irritated me because it's like Serious Sam AI. They just run right at you. I mean, that's it. They just run backwards and shoot. Jordan is 100% right, though. It is a fun little shooter. It's not necessarily bad at all. If I don't want to say if it necessarily recaptures the Quake days retro 3D graphics bits, and I am the Minecraft looking guns don't really fit. I do like how you give the enemies in random spots. You can decapitate them, blow off some leg organs or anything like that. Not bad, and it would have been a really great game clocking in, I don't know, maybe $9.99, but what's this thing rolling in? Like 14? What Stinky Cash is?
Yeah, 14, $17, $18 Canadian.
$18 on Maple Leaves. So just gotta keep that in mind, man. It's not something I'd recommend picking up if you're old, decrepit, and easily confused like me. Just go back and play some GeoQuake. I think you'll have probably a slightly better time.
Yeah, well, I like roguelikes, and this is basically Quake the roguelike in retro-ish first person. I'm not a fan of the blockiness, and Strider has already been going, it's not like Minecraft, it's not developer graphics, it's retro style. No, this shit looks like Minecraft, okay? I played enough Doom, enough Quake 2 to know what old style blockiness looks like. It looks like Minecraft. And after 9 years since Minecraft's first public release...
Pedro, this is what a 20-something thinks retro 3D look like.
I guess, yeah. But ever since Minecraft's first public release 9 years ago, it still seems to plague the indie scene a little bit. But most of the enemies seem to escape the cubification of graphics somewhat, and this is a very fun game. There, I said it. You need to be aware of just how much ammo you're using with your main gun, lest fisticuffs become your sole alternative. There's plenty of pickup weapons to go around, but the ammo count, like Jordan already mentioned, is so low that you don't really get spoiled for choice. You have to make the most of what you're given. And outside of like the abrupt cuts in the music, which admittedly the music is very good and it tells you exactly what kind of game you're playing. Outside of those cuts, the game is really awesome. I will give it 4 chairs now that they finally put out that patch that actually lets me play more of it. But yeah, I really liked it, like a lot.
All right, well, there you have it. That's 2 chairs for the fun section. We tally all of it up, and we get 2 chairs, List Rider, for the final score. You got any final thoughts?
No, maybe if it had maybe if it had multiplayer, maybe.
Honestly, I think it's a decent enough single player experience. The levels themselves are actually pretty short, so you can get through a couple of them in like maybe 10-15 minutes, which makes it a nice little pick up and play type thing. Yeah, I enjoyed this game. The asking price, at least in Canadian buckaroos, is a little too high. But if this seems like it's your jam, or it goes on sale for like $10, yeah, definitely give this a pickup.
Right on.
Yeah, this has surprisingly more depth than what you would assume going in the first time, because you play it for the first couple of levels and you think, oh yeah, I think I can see what the game is throwing at me. But every now and then it throws a new room or a new weapon at you, and it's like, okay, you figure it out. And that right there is the mark of a good roguelike. Just keeping things behind to reveal them at a later point as you're playing the game. That works really well, especially as a first-person type of thing. I like it.
Indeed. There you go. 3 different people with 3 different opinions on one fucking thing. It was kind of brilliant. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. Coming up next,
hey, man.
Looks like old Ray's in a wheelchair again. I don't know. Can't think of a good Ray joke.
Well, would you look at that?
Look at what? I'm looking at your face. It's terrifying. Holy shit.
Yeah, you can look at my face.
Look in your face? No.
Yeah, no.
Cut it open, Pedro. Show us your skull.
I'm drunk, but not that much. Come on, man.
I don't know, man. Listen, I'm just saying, if you go back and listen to that review, you can tell you get a little long-winded, man. I can tell when Pedro's
just a little bit.
If you've ever seen that Robbie Williams video, do that. Pull your skin off. I want to see that.
Yeah, no, I can't do that right now. It would be really, really tiresome because there's carpet all over the floor. But hey, if you'd like to know, if you'd like to tell us if there's carpet all over your floor,
you can all up in that face and head over to.
You can do that by going to linuxgamecast.com/contact,
and
or just hit the contact button on the thing. Yeah.
Free Jeeps with every hate mail suggestion.
You can also click on the ads to give us a bit more money. Yeah, just remember, if you're a game developer and you'd like us to review your game, feel free to send us 3 keys, at least 3. So, there's 3 of us here, and we kind of all want to play your game. So if you send us 3, we'll actually be able to play it. And if you don't, well, we'll make fun of you. Also, feel free to use the Steam Curator Connect thing that Valve introduced recently.
That thing's terrifying. Every time I check that, it gives you the metrics like, you've influenced 700 purchases to date. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you people?
Yeah, 700 purchases on Kona. What?
Listen, they need to fix that shit so you can do it through the Steam client. I am sick of having to log in every single
fucking duck. Yeah, man. That is like, you gotta get all the fucking moon glyphs together for your authenticator and all that bullshit. And yeah,
get the chevrons encoded and shit. Then Ball shows up.
Like 11
it's
of
fucking
them.
Annoying.
Man. It's brilliant. Hey, man, bowls of hate mail.
Yes.
Real-time ray tracing. Foxy sent us a note, man, because we were talking about that, and he's like, yo, I got a fucking wall of text for you that Vin's going to attempt to summarize, but not really. He's just going to read it real fast, and it might confuse you. He says, yeah, hashtag oi. Why is this actually important? Real-time ray tracing has been around for a long time, even in some games, not full scenes, but for reflections and the like. There's even some web GJ examples out there. True story. I don't know. GJ, man, it's an Australian thing. We've not imported that technology. It's weaponized. You don't need a beefy GPU to use them. For CAD, sure, ray tracing is fine. Foxy knows about that business, but it's very old hat. No one in the graphics industry uses ray tracing anymore. BXDF pipelines like Blender cycles for the Maxwell renders are now the standard due to the far better quality and realism. Make no mistake, path tracing is not ray tracing, but even now, there's real-time path tracers on Real Engine, Godot Engine, that's 3.0 release, Blender's EVA render in development, and some done in WebGL, unlike that pesky WebGJ.
I am the WebGJ.
I am the WebGJ. You were merely... so, I'm not really sure if this is a good thing from AMD. As I said above, ray tracing is old hat, and the images in this article are pretty tacky looking, like out of the early aughts. Okay.
It's fine. Okay, I will take the hit on that one and say that, yes, it was my fault. I was the one who compared ray tracing with path tracing. And yeah, I'll take that. I will take that.
Take it like I
have... I have played a lot of Quake 2 with path tracing enabled, and yes, path tracing is different from ray tracing in the same way that I don't know, an old Vauxhall Astra is the same car as the
holy fuck! What are you doing
ones.
a car now? This is not fucking Slashdot, man.
Listen, I'm curious if he's going to have a point in the next 5,000 words.
Nope.
No, considering how sloshed I am right now, no.
This is mumbling with a lot of extra steps.
TLDR,
yes, I am saying I'm wrong. Is. I kind of know what path tracing is. It's GPU technology that I'm not really interested in.
All right.
So he doesn't know what it is. Next topic.
Yeah, that was kind of our only topic. Hey, if you'd like to actually send us some hate mail, listen, you can throw us some love in the comments on the YouTubes and all that business, but we do prefer it if you go directly through our system because we all get a copy and we can decide on whether or not it should make an appearance on the show. It's kind of brilliant. You can also do that for our Wednesday show if you have something not gaming related or maybe some relationship questions, as Pedro pointed out. But I do believe on that bombshell, it is time to cue the music because you can always find us. That's right, for the 293rd time, around 9:30 Eastern Standard Moon Time. Just type that into Google and be like, what the fuck are you watching, telling you to type that shit in. I'm Vin Stone, at Vin Stone on Twitter, plus Vin Stone on Google+. Find me on the internet. I will at least read anything new. I might even click a heart button, but back in my day, there were stars. There were stars, Timmy.
That's so racist, dude. I can't believe you'd even say that. I am the web graphics Jordan. You can find me at The Burning Pool on Twitter, plus Jordan's Fung on Google+. And I am tracing all your paths, rays, and other sort of line segments. You can't escape me.
I am tracing absolutely nothing. You can find me at unaccounted4 on Twitter. That's FOUR if you want to be really accurate about it. Don't go to the actual number 4. That's some dude that hasn't tweeted since it was like 2012 or something. But you can also find me plus Pedro Mateos on Google+.
You know, I would have lost money. I thought it was going to take him like over a minute to get out of that, but he nailed it in 30 seconds. He got the dismount pretty good. Stereo, bitch. What's up? Where's you got now? Oh.
I can't stereo, so fuck you.
Listen, he's no shit-faced. He's tracing the drain.
We
That's
love
what's
you.
happening.
Dynafire, have some credits.
Someone get a plunger.
There are no plungers. This is your worst nightmare. There are no plungers.
Well, welcome to my nightmare. It involves Linux.
Listen, if there's no plunger, then it's the toilet's nightmare if I'm in there. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Money,
Oh, yes, the penguin.
money.
And yes, Foxy, I know I'm wrong. I have no freaking clue what the hell a ray tracing or path tracing is.
And yet you feel the need to talk incessantly about it. So, I mean, that just leaves us where we are right now.
Yeah, that was the point.
Oh, look at that empty. Put the kibosh on that shit. He's like, poof. Right.
No more. Don't do it. Speaking of which, do we have any coming from behind? No. Cage is ahead with 13 votes.
Oh, all the boats.
Yep. All the boats.
And hey, man, good suggestions. It's an embarrassment of riches to work with.
Yeah. We had some gold this week, Jerry.
5 dudes.